Most men believe testosterone declines for one simple reason: age. But clinically, this explanation is incomplete. In my practice, I see men in their 30s, sometimes even their late 20s, experiencing symptoms traditionally associated with low testosterone, persistent fatigue, reduced motivation, difficulty concentrating, without understanding why. The reality is this. Modern testosterone decline is not primarily driven by aging. It is driven by a lifestyle that constantly disrupts the body's hormonal balance. Testosterone production depends on a delicate biological system. When that system is exposed to continuous stress, poor sleep, metabolic strain, artificial light, and hormonal signal disruption, production gradually decreases, often silently. Today, we'll examine 5 key mechanisms that explain why modern men are losing testosterone without realizing it. Not theories. Not trends. But biological processes supported by physiology. Understanding these mechanisms is the first step toward prevention. I'm Dr. James Carter Hayes. My work focuses on how modern life silently disrupts men's hormones. Testosterone decline isn't accidental. It's biological, and today, we'll explain why. Number 1, chronic stress and elevated cortisol. Chronic stress is one of the most underestimated suppressors of testosterone. From a biological perspective, testosterone is not a priority hormone. It is produced when the body perceives safety, stability, and adequate resources. Stress sends the opposite signal. When stress becomes chronic, work pressure, financial concerns, constant mental stimulation, the brain increases the production of cortisol. Cortisol is essential for survival, but it directly interferes with the hormonal axis responsible for testosterone production. Specifically, elevated cortisol suppresses signaling between the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. This reduces the release of luteinizing hormone, which is required to stimulate testosterone production in the testes. The body makes a decision. Survival first, reproduction later. This is not a malfunction. It is an adaptive response. But in modern life, stress rarely resolves. The nervous system remains activated for weeks, months, even years. Over time, testosterone production gradually decreases, not abruptly, but enough to affect energy, mood, and physical resilience. Many men attempt to compensate with stimulants, intense training, or restrictive diets, which further elevate cortisol. From a medical standpoint, restoring hormonal balance begins with addressing the nervous system. Without reducing chronic stress signals, the body cannot prioritize testosterone production. Number 2, sleep deprivation and poor sleep quality. Testosterone is not produced evenly throughout the day. It is primarily synthesized during deep sleep, particularly during the later stages of the night. This means sleep duration alone is not enough. Sleep quality matters. When sleep is shortened, fragmented, or disrupted, the hormonal production window is reduced. The body simply does not complete its testosterone synthesis cycle. Research consistently shows that even 1 week of restricted sleep can significantly lower testosterone levels in healthy men. Modern sleep is under constant attack. Irregular schedules, late-night screen exposure, artificial lighting, and elevated mental stimulation before bedtime. Sleep deprivation also amplifies cortisol levels, creating a dual hormonal disruption. Less testosterone production and more cortisol interference. Importantly, many men normalize poor sleep. They adapt to feeling tired and compensate with caffeine. But hormonally, the deficit accumulates. From a physiological standpoint, sleep is not rest, it is hormonal regulation time. Without sufficient deep sleep, the endocrine system cannot recalibrate. Testosterone decline becomes a predictable outcome, not a mystery. This is why improving sleep architecture, not just sleep duration, is one of the most powerful levers in maintaining healthy testosterone levels. Number 3, ultra-processed foods and metabolic stress. Nutrition affects testosterone indirectly through metabolic signaling. Ultra-processed foods, high in refined sugars, inflammatory fats, and additives, disrupt insulin sensitivity and promote chronic low-grade inflammation. When the body becomes insulin-resistant, metabolic stress increases. This alters hormonal signaling throughout the endocrine system, including testosterone regulation. Inflammation shifts the body into a defensive physiological state. In this state, reproductive hormone production is deprioritized. Additionally, ultra-processed diets often lack essential micronutrients required for enzymatic processes involved in testosterone synthesis. The issue is not occasional indulgence, it is chronic exposure. Over time, the body interprets metabolic instability as environmental stress. Testosterone production declines accordingly. From a medical perspective, testosterone is a marker of metabolic health. When metabolic function deteriorates, hormonal output follows. This explains why testosterone decline often coexists with fatigue, weight gain, and reduced recovery. Restoring metabolic balance reduces inflammatory signaling and allows hormonal systems to function normally. Number 4. Excessive screen exposure and circadian disruption. Hormones follow light, not the clock. Excessive screen exposure, especially in the evening, disrupts circadian rhythm by suppressing melatonin production. Melatonin is not only a sleep hormone, it plays a regulatory role in overall hormonal coordination. When circadian rhythm is disrupted, the body loses its internal timing signals. Hormonal release becomes irregular and inefficient. Artificial light exposure late at night sends a biological message that it is still daytime. As a result, hormonal recovery processes are delayed or impaired. Over time, this affects sleep depth, cortisol regulation, and testosterone production. Modern environments expose men to light far beyond natural biological limits. This chronic disruption gradually alters hormonal equilibrium. The effect is subtle but cumulative. From a physiological standpoint, restoring natural light-dark cycles is essential for hormonal integrity. Number 5. LOW Sunlight and vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D functions more like a hormone than a vitamin. It influences gene expression, immune modulation, and testosterone regulation. Yet modern lifestyles drastically limit sunlight exposure. Indoor work, urban living, and excessive sun avoidance contribute to widespread vitamin D deficiency. Low vitamin D levels correlate with reduced testosterone production, not because vitamin D directly creates testosterone, but because it supports hormonal signaling pathways. Without adequate vitamin D, hormonal communication becomes less efficient. This deficiency often goes unnoticed, as symptoms are nonspecific: fatigue, low mood, reduced resilience. From a clinical standpoint, vitamin D status reflects environmental alignment. When natural biological inputs are missing, hormonal systems suffer. Testosterone decline in this context is not pathological, it is adaptive. Testosterone decline is rarely caused by a single factor. It is the result of modern biological pressure. Understanding these mechanisms allows men to recognize the problem before it becomes severe. Hormonal health is not about quick fixes. It is about restoring the conditions under which the body functions optimally.